So, hi, I'm the Pine,
And I'm the Water, and you're listening to A Cup of Tea.
a podcast about exploring life through each other's eyes.
Well, sharing a cup of tea with you.
Look how cute! These are new!
These are new.
They're very adorable.
Yeah. I was going to say we have gone through some hurdles to start recording this episode. But yeah, this is better. This is a highlight.
Yes.
Not my ranting.
Much pretty. Yes, indeed. We are drinking again from lovely David's Tea, who is our non-sponsor. Just because that's where we get our tea from.
Yeah, we need them to start giving us money.
That would be very nice. Thank you, David's Tea. We appreciate your tea.
I can't see it shine anymore because the lights are not hitting it at the right spot.
Oh, it was
shimmery.
Oh, I can see it a little bit. It's weird. I don't know how I feel about it, but it's like a witch's brew tea,
something like that
we got
for free
around Halloween.
Actually,
yes, because we bought so much tea. So that was nice.
It was.
It smells like bubble gum, which I find interesting.
It's
but
like
it is not as sweet as I thought it was going to be, which makes me very happy.
I told you it was nice.
It smells super sweet. Super sweet.
It's not like that. You know, the other day that I told you that I had the pink vitamin water that tasted like Danonino? Yeah. I saw it today. Like, it was the only flavor they had in the cafeteria. And I told my roommate, like, if whatever you do not taste that. The thing is, it was a surprise. I was not expecting it to taste like Danonino at all. And then I told her about it. And I said, so there, if you turn, like, she was sitting in front of me, and behind her was the fridge with the bottles. And I said, the other day I had that pink vitamin water, and it was very surprising to me that it tastes 100% like strawberry Danonino.
Does she know what Danonino is?
Yeah, they also have it in Brazil, apparently. Nice. She also had it as a kid, and we started reminiscing about how, like, we used to freeze them, and sometimes they came with, like, the lollipop thing that you could just stick in it.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah, it was cute. So, yeah, no, this does not taste like that.
No, it's nice. I like it. It's very adorable.
Me too.
All right. So, on today's topic. So, last time, we were here, we were doing our thing, and the water here was showing me, I don't remember how you brought it up or why, but there's this show on Netflix about interior design, which we very much like.
That's a very interesting
it is
way
about
to put
interior
it.
design, you know?
It is, yeah.
But it's about this lady that does sex rooms for people. And like, it wasn't on my list, but I hadn't actually seen it.
Yeah.
And we started watching it.
We did.
And I'm very pleased with it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so the story here is that I think we were looking for something to watch while having dinner.
Okay.
And it was on your list. It was either that or something like, it wasn't Gilmore Girls, but anyway, something. And so I said, have you watched this? And she said, no. And I said, oh, one of my aunts showed it to me before, like, on my trip here. It was funny that she's somebody that I can talk about whatever with her. And so when I was visiting her in Houston, we were talking about a bunch of stuff. And she's very funny. Like, she's kind of particular. I don't know. And not in a bad way. So when I turned 18, she came up to me. And at the time, I think she was... they had come over to visit us for Christmas. And on her Kindle, she was reading 50 Shades of Grey. Yes. So because I was 18 at the time, she was like, you can now read it. You should, like, you know, because you're old enough. And I was like,
cute. It's cute.
Thank you. I don't know how to feel about it. Sure. And then this time, we were having, we had dinner. We came back to their house. And I was on my computer working on something, and my uncle was giving me the whole lecture because I had just moved into a house. He was like, this is a new living room. Here's a TV. Here's how you turn it on. You do the thing. You can do it with your phone, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. And then my aunt came over, and she sat with me on the couch. And she was like, oh, you should totally watch this show. It's really funny. Like, and I think it had to do with something that we were talking about before. So she showed me the second episode, which is the one that I played for you, about this couple that she did the same thing that I did to you. So about this moment where there's a couple that is not very good at communicating with each other about what they want and what they like. Especially the guy is very shy. So what's her name? It starts with an M. I don't know, the designer lady. And she puts them in sound booths, and they have to repeat what she's telling them to the other person with blindfolds. So that was funny. And so she customizes their houses, or a room in their houses, to have as a sex room. Which, that's what started this whole conversation.
Yeah. I find it very refreshing to, well, first of all, I think it's an awesome idea to have a sex room. Because, like, I just think that it's so cool to be open about it. And it's that, I don't know if this is something that we said in a different cup of tea, or this is something that we've said off camera, where if only we could get rid of all the taboo around sex and just have it be another sphere of our personalities and just talk about it like it's not some weird, dirty... Because that's something that she says, in the show, of like, when people hear that I design sex rooms, there's this tone of like, it's dirty and ugly and a dungeon, you know? And she's like, but no, my sex rooms are sophisticated and luxurious. And they're very nice.
That's a very good impression.
I was watching it today. So I really appreciate the openness. And it's really, I liked, because there's a couple that you showed me, and the next couple that we saw, and they were all very shy about sex. But when I watched the first episode today, the first couple, they're super open about it. And
the first couple is like listing down their toys, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And they're going to try, what's the thing?
Flogging, yes. Yeah.
And it makes it feel like it's normal. It's not taboo, it's not dirty, it's just another part of ourselves. It's nice.
It's making me think about how, this is not something that we had, because we started having this conversation the other day, and I said we should record at that moment, but we didn't.
Of course,
well,
we didn't.
It's fine because it has given me time to, like, I don't know, look at other stuff. And the point is that I was watching, I'm rewatching True Blood right now. And there's a lot of sex and a lot of nudity in the show.
Okay.
And I was then watching an interview where they were asking Anna Paquin and Stephen Moyer about nudity in the show. And they were like, she's from New Zealand and he's English. So maybe him less than her. But she said that it didn't bother her. And she grew up in New Zealand where people are more open about it. And she has this idea, which I agree with, that people, especially in North America, is how she said it, are more prudish and more, I don't know. They don't talk about sex that much. They don't talk about nudity. They're uncomfortable with it. And funnily enough, I guess, the three main characters of the show are, well, except for her, who's from New Zealand, the other two are European, who are more used to being naked and stuff. And the other character, who is the actor, is Alexander Skarsgård, is Swedish. And he's talked in interviews about how his dad used to walk around naked in his house when he was a kid. So it's very common. Like, it's not a thing, you know?
I appreciate that. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. And this is bringing me back to this thing that we were saying about how one day I was driving with my friends back to school. And one of them posed the question of, what would it be like if we all walked around naked every day?
Mm-hmm.
Which he asked it in a very, like...
mischievous way?
Yes.
Okay.
Because he thought it'd be, like, super hot.
Scandalous?
Scandals, yeah. Like, you'd want to have sex all the time. And both the friend that was in the car with me and me were like, no. I mean, first of all, you'd get used to it, so it wouldn't be a thing.
Exactly.
Second, I think it'd be uncomfortable. You could get cold very easily. You can get sunburned very easily. And clothing basically gives you comfort. That's the reason it exists. Which, of course, then evolved into fashion and all. But, you know.
Mm-hmm,
So I think it's more like you just get used to it and you don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, I thought it'd make me want to have sex every day.
Maybe at first, you know, it'd be like new and stuff.
Yeah.
But
then I thought of, I don't know if I told him in that moment, but this idea came back to me of one class where the lecturer was talking about marketing and selling sex and all of that. And he said that there's an author who I don't remember the name of, that says that the sexiness or conception of sexiness is created by clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's about what you can see and what you can't see and leaving stuff up to the imagination. And there's, you know, very revealing clothes, but there's other that are not necessarily sensual or very sexy. And there are others that cover you up more, but can seem more alluring. You know, so yeah, it's an idea that I've liked and debated around.
The nakedness?
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. Somehow, when we were talking about this last time, we got into talking about porn.
We did.
I don't remember how.
Me neither.
Okay. No, it doesn't matter. The point is that we talked about it. And I was mentioning that I had a bit of a struggle. You know, the origin of
your
the struggle.
ethical conundrum with watching porn.
Yes. So at first, I was very pro porn.
Why did we get into that?
I have no idea.
Remember. Okay.
Well, maybe we'll find out. Maybe we'll find out. So I was very pro porn in this idea of like liberation and women's sexuality and like, you know, if they want to do it, let them do it. Because somehow, I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg. Because I was also saying that why is stripping or sex work illegal?
Right, I remember that.
Right?
That part of
I don't know what came first. But let's stick to porn and then we can talk about the other thing.
Yes.
So, first, pro porn. And woo, you know. But then, you know, I was thinking about more along the lines of feminism in a look at the porn industry and what it does, you know, because it's not only what maybe the porn stars go through and suffer, because from what I understand, a lot of porn stars are like raped.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm like, you know, for the entertainment of others. So that's not okay. So then it started like coming down from this sort of like pedestal-y place of like liberation and, you know, that stuff into, look at the industry. Because usually that tends to be the problem, right? The industry around things, not the things itself. Yeah. It's like eating meat. It's not eating meat itself. It's the industry.
Yeah.
So then I was kind of like, maybe I don't appreciate porn. And it's a conversation that I would have with my boyfriend of like I understand that there's a limit and there's space for me to say stuff, but there's also space for you to do whatever you want to do. And this is just my argument, and you do with it whatever you want to do with it, you know. But it's an important conversation, I feel like. And it just made me aware of like trying to be conscious about porn. And that's the thing that we were talking about, where I was like, I was watching these, I think I was a Jubilee video.
Yes.
And it was one of those middle ground ones. They're so cool. I really like Jubilee. Good work. And you know, there were the people that were pro porn and against porn. And something that I really enjoyed was this girl that was saying, I think, I could be wrong, that she was a sex worker, or she's a sex worker when she's talking about this. And she's saying, you know, I like the work I do. And it's very kind of empowering, and maybe we can tie it to the working thing of like, why is it illegal? But there was also this other person who I believe is a trans man, and he was saying that, or they were saying, that it's very educational, and as a trans person, because of what they go through, and like sex changes and hormones and things, and so many things that are outside of my experience, porn is a way to learn and to navigate and to talk about, and you know, get to know yourself as this new person, or the person that you always were, you know. So I thought, like, yes, I was back to pro porn but against the industry. But it made me very happy to, because I do appreciate the appreciation of sex, sexuality, nudity. I think it's good. I think we can go back to taking it as good, seeing it as good, as part of ourselves. And then you were telling me, I think that's when you were telling me about this artist or the filmmaker or something.
Yeah. So I remember how it started. So it came back to me. So there's this part in the show, in the How to Build a Sex Room, that they put, I think it's a coat hanger.
With the dicks.
With the dicks. And for some reason that got us into soup. And how soup... Well, there was this thing, you know...
Not actual soup.
Maybe people have heard, you guys have heard of Tumblr. But we didn't have Tumblr. We had
soup.
Soup, which was very similar.
It was so cute. I miss soup.
It was very cute. I
hate that I can't see my
like
soup.
collecting stuff, basically. And there was a non-safe for work section of soup that you could stumble upon if you weren't careful, or if you were looking for it, I guess. So that is where I found, like, I don't know that I would necessarily call most of it porn, but it was like erotica, I guess. Or, like cute pictures of naked people. And I was talking to a friend in high school, I think, and he asked me about it. It was funny that he asked me, like, have you ever watched porn? And I was like, no. I mean, and in my head, I was like, I don't know if this counts. And I also kind of don't want to tell you because it's weird. And yeah, but soup was cute. Soup was pretty. And so what I said to you was, that was the first place where I found photos, cute, pretty photos of dicks.
And and we're talking about how dicks can be good.
Pretty, yeah. Yes, we don't subscribe to that whole dicks are horrible, disgusting, or whatever thing.
I mean, still, not unsolicited photos of dicks are appreciated.
We don't. Yes, exactly.
But still, you know, that idea that, because at some point there's like whatever, a meme, a tweet, a comment, or something about like, how can girls like dicks if they look horrible? And like, they don't.
Yeah, exactly. They don't. And so I think it was through Soup or something like that I found this woman who's a filmmaker, and she does, what pretty porn. I think she calls it something like ethical maybe, and focus more on women. And I think she has a TED Talk actually.
I'm interested.
Yeah, and so I found her work, and which is something that I told her, like, I don't know if that borders on copyright infringement or something, but I like the concept of how she had a website. I don't know if it still exists, where people wrote their confessions, like sex dreams or fantasies or whatever, and she would turn them into short films.
Nice.
Yeah, which I thought was so cool. Like, imagine if you wrote it and then she made a film, and you're like, oh my gosh, she made my thing a film. You know, that'd be cute.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's where we stopped that thought. I don't remember what else we said, but oh yeah, we were talking about we're losing my train of thought here. We talked about those kinds of boudoir photos that also can be very pretty. And I found, because I follow a bunch of photographers on Instagram, and I once found this lady who does boudoir photography. And the feeling was that it was very empowering for the women that had photo shoots with her to do it. Because it was about confidence and feeling good with their bodies and feeling sexy and all of that stuff, which I thought was really cute. But cute as like that sort of social cause, I guess. But also her, I mean, I don't know that she's my favorite photographer in general, but it like made me think of the idea of it'd be nice to do something like that. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to erotic photography. Yeah. And there's even, like, I remember ages ago when we used to wander through the Gandhi bookstore. I remember seeing one of those coffee table books that I like. And it was just naked people. Yeah. Which is cute. But it wasn't, and that one even wasn't, I mean, I'm pretty sure there was a sexy version of it, but this was more like people. And it was all kinds of people. It was like old, young. I mean, not kids, but yeah. That's a very thin line there.
Yes, exactly.
But you could see
Adults,
yeah, being human, like with their bodies. And that was a very interesting idea.
Okay, so since we're talking about it, and I don't think we talked about this within that conversation, but we have mentioned this, of like how you told me about Working Moms, and I watch Working Moms, and I love it. I love it. But it's not just that. It's the fact that there's nudity in the show.
Yes, I remember that.
And it's, again,
it's just there.
So refreshing, because it's not through the male gaze. And it's like such a great example. Because when I think of, like, when someone says the male gaze thing, I think of, what is it? DC, the Suicide Squad. When Harley Quinn, like the first Harley Quinn with like the super tiny shorts. And then the next, the actual Harley Quinn movie, where like it's directed by a woman. And you see the difference. But then I also saw it here in Working Moms, of like, there's boobs, there's naked, and it's just, it just makes me happy. Because there's also this other side. On the one hand, there is the empowerment of feeling sexy and attractive. But I've felt, and I've thought, and I've experienced a side where it's tiring.
What do you mean?
It's tiring to be a sexual
person,
symbol, like be thought of as sexual all the time.
Yeah.
As a woman, which I'm thinking, 99% of women feel that way, because of how culture or whatever we are made to be thought of as sexual. Or this thing of where you're either a virgin or a slut, that kind of stuff. But always in terms of sex.
Yeah.
So I just love it so much. Working moms and the non-sexual nudity of it. It's so nice. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I remember that. I think what I replied to that, I don't know, sometimes, like, as a side thought, I've been trying to not reply automatically, but to rather really listen to either what, like right now when you're talking to me or when you're saying something, when we're texting. Because I don't know, like as an exercise in stopping myself to really listen to people and to like give space for thoughts to
Nice.
be there.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. But anyway, so what I did reply in that moment was that I was watching this show called Love and Anarchy. I think it's the name in English. Where in the same way, also very refreshing and very surprising. It was very surprising to me. It's the first show where I've seen people naked in a non-sexual way, both men and women, that is not Game of Thrones. And it was funny to me because the first scene is you see a fully naked woman going around a pool, like she's running away from a guy. It's a comedy.
Okay.
They're like together, but he's doing something, and so it's like a dare. So she takes her swimsuit off in the pool and then leaves the pool, and she's walking around naked. And he's like, "What the fuck are you doing, dude? Put your clothes back on." And then the next is that he goes to visit his family, and because of the dare thing, he takes off his clothes and poses for the family picture fully naked. And I was like, wow, I had never seen a guy's dick for so long on a screen.
Wow.
Which was so weird. And I was like, I mean, that's fine. I'm not opposed to it. I don't really care actually about it. But like in a I don't know, good way, I want to say. But I like the idea of it, of not making such a fuzz about it. And it has, like, I don't want to throw her under the bus, but it's been funny to me that my roommate is having such a interesting experience with our neighbors.
Yes. Please share.
And she told me the other day, I asked her, like, "Are you a very light sleeper?" And she was like, "Yeah, I am." Because I was in the supermarket and I saw these, like, colorful earplugs, and I thought of her immediately. I was like, I'm going to buy this for her. She needs this in her life. No, but she's told me several times that our neighbors are very loud. And they had sex often, and she can hear her, I don't know, just doing something.
But like screaming is what she means.
Yeah. Or moaning, or which I think is hilarious. Like, it cracks me up. And when I told you about
when you hear them,
no, I haven't heard them.
Roommate...
Although I did actually hear them the other day for the first time. I hadn't. It was just like vicariously learning about it through her. And I told you about it because I thought it was funny. And I'm very proud of us. Like, because of course we would say that our reaction was like, I mean, good for her. Like, she's having fun. And then I ran into him in the hallway. And he was telling me, "I'm so sorry about your roommate because I feel like a terrible neighbor and super loud at the party." Because he also plays loud music sometimes and has people over. So he's a party person and he can be very loud. And my roommate had to go up and shut him up
No.
at like 3 a.m. because they were playing guitar or something.
Mm-mm.
But he was the one that mentioned being loud during sex. And I said, I don't really care. I honestly haven't even heard you. My roommate has.
Mm-hmm.
And then this guy came over who I think is his next door neighbor. And he was like, oh yeah, I bought earplugs. I mean, that's hilarious. But the thing that kept being funny to me, and not haha funny, but like interesting, was that my roommate was so weirded out by it. And like, I don't know if I'm comfortable. Like, I haven't asked. I don't know that much, but... And I was like, I mean, first of all, that's part of... It's like a package deal, living in a dorm. You're going to have loud noises and people having sex. And, you know, it's like, not surprising.
Mm-hmm.
But why the squeamishness towards it? Or like, that's the thing. Like, why can't it be just like, yeah, whatever, you know? And I remembered... I don't know if I was telling her or someone that I mean, we were talking about a friend who I was being very stereotypical, and I said, as far as I know and what I have learned and what I was told, he's a Swedish guy who likes a girl. And my information from stereotypes and the knowledge that has been passed on to me is that Swedish guys are not very proactive when dating. It's mostly girls that are more like, oh, let's go out. Oh, let's do this. And blah, blah, blah. And then people in general, in Sweden, they're very open about sex. And so what people tend to do is they meet and they sometimes have coffee. And right away they have sex, like in the first date. Or not even having had a date before, yeah. And so my roommate was like, what? Because she got a text from a guy that was like, oh yeah, let's hang out. And do you want to also Netflix and chill? And she was like, I haven't even met, like, I don't even know you. Mm-hmm, you know, like, I think they've seen each other once or something. And I was like, you know, I mean, if you want to, why not, you know? But when I told her about the Swedish thing, she was like, oh my god, you know, people, wow, that's very... I don't remember exactly what she said, but that was the impression it gave me of like surprise and shock, like, oh wow, really?
I mean,
you know?
Latin America is very conservative.
Yes, exactly. That was my next thought. But very hypocritical, too. Yeah. Because on the one hand, yes, we were like, no. Don't have sex. Like, be a virgin until you get married. And don't show too much. But the cultural, it's, like, I feel like the culture itself is very sensual. Very, you know? And
the dancing and all.
Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about it.
Also very sexist.
Yes, also, but yeah, I don't know how we got here. But then the other thing I remember, I don't know how to close the loop, but the other thing we were talking about was sex work, and for some reason we were talking about the Netherlands and like Amsterdam and the red light district. Oh yeah. And the illegality of it.
Yeah, I was wondering because at some point I read my when I got my Canada work permit.
Oh right, yeah.
It says that it doesn't apply for
sex
strippers and sex workers. And I was like,
yeah.
Why?
I still don't know if sex work is legal in Canada.
But still, that's my point. Why make it...
I have an answer now. I think I didn't have an answer back last week. I think it comes from religion. I think it's a religious-based sort of affair.
Really? I could see
if I had to guess, which is what we're doing.
Yeah, most of our talking is kissing.
I mean, so yeah, my theory here now is that you know how we have the 7 deadly sins, and one of them is lust. So, of course, the church would be in Europe, which conquered the rest of America and some other parts of the world. Especially during, I don't know, Inquisition times, I guess. You know, that very righteous time for them. I can see them legislating over sex because it was seen as sinful and immoral, and so.
I mean, I can see the theory. I can see why, but I'm like, could we take it to a different place? And who knows, right? Like, my experience is very limited. Maybe in Europe, maybe in some other place, it is this way, or who knows? But why? Okay, maybe you answer the why. Let's just pretend that that's the answer, because it's kind of convincing. But could we take it to where it's like this girl from Jubilee, or this the trans person, the trans man from Jubilee, of like, can a sex worker be a sort of, not therapist per se, but a counselor, or can it be something different than, because we also said this. I don't want to fall on saying that it has to be something different, in the sense of there's this shame about stripping and sex work, because it's like, oh, you're selling yourself. And what I was saying the other day was that we are all selling ourselves. Like, that is very hypocritic to like shame people because of OnlyFans.
But you can't sell your body part, your other body parts.
See, because that's my point. As an artist, as a scientist, as a whatever, you are selling yourself. You're selling your thoughts, you're selling your ideas, you're selling your image, you're selling your intelligence. We're all selling ourselves all the time, not just for actual money, but for like power, for convenience, for relationships. We're just all the time. So I'm like, why? Like, let's stop shaming sex work and strip clubs and all of that. But also, let's make them more intentional. And, let's be more aware and more accepting of our sexuality and exploring it. And I think that's something that I really like about the show. Because the host lady, the designer, she's very...
Melanie is her name.
Melanie, okay.
Yeah.
I think maybe in the first episode, she goes on to say that she doesn't just ask her clients about the design aspect of it, of like, ooh, textures or colors or, that stuff. Yeah. She asks them about their sex life because she wants to understand what they like, what they're interested in, what she needs to bring into the room to make it appealing to them specifically. And I really like that she's so open about it, and she's quirky and funny, and
she's
and it's funny. Just that's her job, and the same way that she does interior design and she does sex rooms, I think sex work and stripping, like a burlesque canteen or something, like a show. I'm just excited about the idea of it being purposeful and normal. And I'm like, why is it illegal? Just saying. But then again, the same thing that I had my journey through the porn thing, maybe it's the same thing where it's like, look at the industry. So, it's that kind of thing where, like, usually from the media, that's like the extent of my understanding, and that's why I like the Jubilee stuff so much, because that's actual people telling their stories. But from the media, girls that go into sex work and stripping and all that is because they don't have another choice, you know, that kind of stuff, and they are mistreated and they are, you know, again, raped and stuff and all of that. So again, I think it's look at the industry, not at the thing itself, but then maybe we can recreate the thing itself to be a nice industry.
Interesting goal. Want to run for Congress? No, I'm just kidding.
It'd be cool. I'm just saying.
No. I mean, it's like, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't think I have an opinion on it.
What?
Not as strong an opinion as yours, at least. I would say I don't care much about it. Like,
about what?
About the sex work? Yeah, about I haven't. It's not something I've considered.
But I think it's like about sexuality and itself, it's like, you know.
Yeah, no, like on that front. Yeah, I agree. It should be, you know, a regulated industry, and I think it's something that I said to you that I read, and they maybe mentioned it in the Jubilee video. I don't remember, about the difference between legalizing the industry versus decriminalizing it, and how each of those things impacts their work differently, and one means that they have rights and they have maybe social insurance because of their work, and they have right to, I don't know, get tested and demand that things are in a certain way and that keeps them safe. So I don't know, like on that front I agree. Yeah. On whether it should be legalized, which it feels like a very political question. I guess it could be. It would make it would change it massively.
Do you think?
You know? I think so, yeah. Because I feel like it's kind of the equivalent of legalizing drugs, where if you make weed legal, then the whole system that is behind it sort of
crumbles.
Has to, or has to adapt to not die. And I don't know. It's an interesting idea. And my only reference is that, in the Netherlands it's legal sex work is legal, and you can go into brothels, I guess. I don't know, in the red light district in Amsterdam. And there's very visible sex shops.
I wonder if over there it's more not just accepted, but like not as taboo, or if it's more normal, if it's just like, go to the bar.
My experience there was that people are very used to it. I don't know how they feel about being customers. Maybe it's more of a touristy trap sort of situation. I haven't heard of anybody that's been like, that has told me, oh yeah, I go to a brothel every 2 weeks, you know? Because also, I mean, I think maybe it'd be weird. I don't know. It'd be an interesting experience for sure to be like a customer of a sex work establishment. I cannot imagine myself doing that, but I can see it happening, I guess, for some people, where it's like the equivalent of going to therapy, or I don't know. I just find it very
I feel
weird.
Like you could either take it as a therapeutic thing, but you could also take, or it's either therapeutic, educational, or just like pleasure, like a massage. You know?
I can see that.
That's all I'm saying. You could make it a spa where you have happy endings, but everybody's aware, and it's like actually part of the package, and everybody's just happy about it.
Happy about their happy endings.
Yeah, but not just the customer, like the actual performer. You know?
Yeah.
Just a thought.
No, I mean, it's cool. It's cool, yeah. Sure. We can advocate for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Any further thoughts?
No, right now.
All right. Well, I think we can recommend the show.
Yeah, you should watch How to Build a Sex Room. And that Jubilee video, we can link it somewhere, I think.
Because we're so good at doing that.
Yes, we are improving. We're gonna be better. We are actually gonna link it. Or you can just Google it. I mean, you know, you have fingers, I guess. You have a keyboard. And it's the middle ground videos of Jubilee that are very cool.
They're good. They're good. We like them.
I really liked. I mean, I like, but it also make me cringe. The one where they do flat earthers against astrophysicists.
I don't know that
Or
I've seen that
like
one,
that.
but yeah.
And I'm like, oh my god, these people, I've lost faith in humanity. There's this tattoo artist from Spain who does really cool stuff. And one time she posted a story, like, it was like, it's my birthday, so my friends gave me a flat earth cake. And I was like, you're a flat earther? Like, I've lost faith in humanity. What is this? I cannot. Anyway, watch Jubilee.
Yeah.
It's cool. They do fun stuff.
They do. I appreciate it. All right. Talk to you next week.
Thanks for sharing a cup of tea with us.
To watch more episodes of A Cup of Tea, click the link on the right. If you want to watch Pockets in the Universe, go to the playlist on the left.